Let's talk about a Deanna Durbin vehicle called That Certain Age. It's from 1938, I believe. Look, this podcast does not do research, so unsubscribe and do something good with your life. Anyway, the movie is about a child named she's like a teenager named Alice, who becomes infatuated with her father's house guest, played by Melvin Douglas. Her dad owns a newspaper, a big one, and Melvin Douglas is the war correspondent. So he's been in Europe tracking the conflict that's going on over there. It's not yet World War II, obviously, but it's getting there. And so the newspaperman says, come to my country house and get away from it all and rest. You deserve it. So Alice becomes infatuated with the big man who travels around, and he is totally oblivious to this, which is how the movie gets away with such a delicate topic. Now, Alice wants to be an adult. She's champing at the bit to grow up. Her parents still dictate what she can and cannot wear, and here is a man who is traveling the world doing whatever he wants, basically. So as a kid, I identified with Alice because why wouldn't you? Melvin Douglas is this elegant person who, if anybody could be born in a tuxedo, this is the guy. So I understood Alice's obsession, but as an adult, I find the whole premise very uncomfortable. Even though they're being very careful with it, it's still not a movie that you would probably or should make today, because easily the discussion would be that this is some kind of Lolita scenario, and it's so not. Lolita, that story is about an adult who's a predator, and That Certain Age is not that at all. And the way that they keep it from being that is by keeping him completely oblivious to her. She's just this child that's running around being amusing. Meanwhile, she's trying to get all the adults to pay attention to her, and they're just like, oh, sweet child, go away. There is this one moment where she and her parents are having an argument over what she gets to wear for their party that they're giving, for holding downstairs for the adults, basically. But Alice is allowed to go, and she has to wear one of her own dresses, and she hates them because they're a baby dress, which really reminds me of Maria in West Side Story in that moment. Anyway, she says, I look like a bottle of milk in it. Meaning it's meant to be a white dress and suggesting innocence, but she wants to look like a mature woman. So once her parents go downstairs, she sort of lags behind and then puts on one of her mother's dresses, puts her hair up, and wears a strapless gown. Her parents are so shocked, and she just sort of saunters down the stairs casually. Oh, good evening, Mother. What a lovely party. Alice, I want to talk to you. Yes, Mother? Not here, dear. Upstairs. Oh, but we can talk here, Mother. Yes, dear, but I want to see you upstairs. Oh, my goodness. I remember as a kid being totally terrified of the mom because I didn't want to disappoint her either, like she was my mom or something. Oh, my God. It is so funny and terrifying if you're a kid. As an adult, I just think it's hilarious. Oh, so she's banned from going to the party completely at this point. Eventually, all the adults figure it out, and this is like at the very end, and they find a way to get the house guest out of this situation. I think some other employee comes in, a lady, and they pretend to be married, and Alice is like, oh, and then drops him pretty much immediately. So it's over just as quickly as it began for Alice. But what I liked about it is that the parents are, in general, quite gentle with her, and they try to explain things to her, and the mom's like, yes, these are normal feelings. I had them myself when I was a child, all of that sort of thing. They're really, in general, quite gentle with her, but maybe a little too loose, in fact, because they don't tell her just straight out, no, you can't do this. This is not to be done. You're going to leave this man alone. So they did have to hurry up and figure out ways to basically get him to leave the house until they can control their daughter. Again, it's an uncomfortable premise, but it's meant to be sweet, and it really is. Among all of this, and I haven't mentioned yet, is Jackie Cooper. He plays the boy next door, and any boy next door in any Deanna Durbin film I've seen is instantly and obsessively in love with Deanna Durbin's character. So it's the same thing here. So Melvin Douglas is in this love triangle that he doesn't even know he's in. The boy loves the girl, and the girl is infatuated with the guy, and the guy just doesn't even know she exists. In fact, it's having or trying to have a conversation with a teenage boy that Melvin Douglas learns that what's really going on here, because he's just trying to have a friendly conversation with a teenager, and the boy's treating him like public enemy number one. It is hilarious because, as far as he's concerned, he is public enemy number one. So it's somewhere after this where Melvin Douglas tells the parents, and the parents go about trying to figure out, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And they try to talk to her. Who is the mom? I don't do research, but I'm going to. Okay. So her name is Irene Rich. She does an excellent job as the mom. And apparently she was a silent film star. So that's nice. So she transitioned into talking movies. That could not have been easy. Good for her. And while we're at it, Melvin Douglas's name in here is Vincent Bullitt. I'd forgotten. Vincent Bullitt. That's a great name for a war correspondent. You can almost see the naked light bulb swinging overhead as he's furiously tapping away at his portable typewriter, the sound of cannons in the distance, and someone bursting forth and saying, "Oh, we gotta move!" Oh, yeah, Vincent Bullitt is a really nice name. Love it. Yeah, it's a fun film, and with Jackie Cooper in it, I've noticed that in these movies around this point, in a Deanna Durbin film, Deanna Durbin films just before and during the war became kind of like propaganda films, because there's a moment where the Jackie Cooper character is so distraught, he decides to join the Navy. There's another film where her love interest does the same thing. Nice Girl. When was that? 40-something? It was 40-something. Like, the war was on. And her love interest is Robert Stack, and he thinks that she's in love with somebody else yet again. So he's like, I'm not going to wait to be called. I'm going to join the army now, or something like that. And I always feel like that's a recruitment moment. That's when I first noticed that Deanna Durbin films are like propaganda films for U.S. recruitment. And I do believe they worked because she's a very famous person. So anyway, Jackie Cooper wants to join the Navy because he wants to get away from his broken heart, but he's going to take that with him, so I don't think that's going to work. He's still going to be brokenhearted, but far, far away from everybody he knows, and that's fine, I guess. At the end, when she decides to give up her interest in the house guest, he also throws away his duffel bag, and with the suggestion that he's not going to the Navy after all. It's really two dramatic children. It kind of reminds me in a way of Little Donald in Anchors Away, that 1945 movie with Gene Kelly. Dean Stockwell plays Little Donald, who's got to be like 5 or 6. I'm going to join the Navy. My aunt says I could, Aunt Susie says I could join the Navy when I grow up, and now I am grown up, so I want to. It has that feel to it when Jackie Cooper wants to join the Navy, but with dramatic teen angst. It's just sort of, this is not going to solve your problem, dear. That Certain Age is a fun little romp. It today probably would seem problematic and uncomfortable, but at the time it's just meant to be kind of sweet. And I do think it is a sweet movie still.